This is Chris Morrow, ComicCon at Home. I'm remotely connected at the Tin Fish in San Diego. And the panel is Over 30 Cosplay, virtual costuming and cosplay advice and support for the mature cosplayer. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Chris.
Please introduce yourself and tell me where your home is.
So I'm John Callison, the founder of Over30Cosplay, and my home is in Morgan Hill, California.
I'm Tony Swatton from the Sword and the Stone in Burbank, California.
Chad Hatter of Chad Hatter Designs. I'm also in Burbank.
Hi, Jen Greeley. I'm in Kenosha, Wisconsin with my Star Wars folks.
And I'm Anders Hudson, and I'm with Midwick Armory out of San Jose, California.
Welcome. Please tell me how the panel went.
It's actually, we think it went well. Tony and Chad did great. I think I sucked as a moderator, but you know, it was we're getting a lot of great feedback.
You were awesome, and we're so happy to do it. Thank you.
Cool.
What's it like doing the Comic-Con at Home panel versus the panel in person? I mean, do you feel like that you captured the audience and you got them hooked?
You guys, I'll let you guys go, and since you are the speakers.
I'll start off. I think it went really well. It's bizarre to be, you know, in the mindset of Comic-Con, but to be doing it out of your living room. You know, it's definitely a normal that I don't particularly care for because I wasn't dehydrated, I wasn't sweating through a costume, I wasn't dealing with bunions, you know, all the beautiful things that come with Comic-Con. But yeah, we have gotten really good feedback, and I know I enjoyed my little moment of trying to help, and I love everything with everyone else's. You know, I personally threw the panel on and just listened to it while I was making breakfast this morning, and it was just wonderful hearing everyone talk about their love of cosplay.
And in my case, there's pluses and minuses. The negative is that I'm not interacting with the crowd in the panel, where you can't, you know, kind of get the response from it. You're kind of anticipating what they want. But on the positive aspect, you can see what I have for them and share that with you. Where Comic-Con kind of frowns on bringing He-Man's sword into the, you know, onto the floor. They've stopped me in a lot of cases.
Well, I thought it was really interesting because it allowed a lot more opportunity to provide information. So I really enjoyed it, and I think it reaches a lot more people.
I really like the aspect of being able to bring the virtual out, because this allows us to, while we really lose out on the ability to interact with people in person who may have deeper dive questions, it does create an air of accessibility. A lot of people who wouldn't be able to travel or otherwise wouldn't be able to get tickets, make the trip, see the panels, etc. I think a lot more people are going to be engaged with this, so the credits outweigh the debits for this round, and hopefully can reach out to a much broader audience.
I totally agree. Our audience normally is around 200 to 300 people in a room, but with the past WonderCon and now Comic-Con at Home, which is the traditional San Diego Comic-Con or Comic-Con International, we're seeing already, you know, 500-600 and growing, and it's only been out since 10 a.m. So I think it does provide a much larger audience, and the fact that so many of our members and people that maybe not even familiar with the group can join is a benefit to us, but also to them. I think it provides much more access.
Do you think that you were able to have your costumes more extravagant because you were online?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't describe anything that we're doing as extravagant. One sec, I just need to fix my waistcoat. I think that it allowed a bit more comfort than usual, perhaps, even though I'm still wearing high heels.
Yeah, and on the plus side, you know, I'm wearing everything from the waist up, you know, in my pirate garb, and I have an opportunity to switch out from this if I wanted to. And I have worn this on the floor at Comic-Con. But as in Chad's case, but opposite of that, I'm not wearing any shoes.
At all.
Oh,
I'm sitting here thinking, why did I make the bother to wear the whole thing when it was only going to be seen from the waist up when he gets to be way more comfortable?
Honestly, we're going out after this in costume in celebration of Comic-Con. So even though we're not physically there, we're going to go to a local costume shop and a couple other things as a group in costume in honor of, Comic-Con at home. So, but I am in full costume too, and it's I don't think it made it more extravagant. I think it was just more comfortable sitting in your living room as opposed to like 100 people staring at you or 300 people staring at you. However, it was awesome. It's awesome in person. So I think both have benefits.
I think it's really exciting because then you can. Oh, I loved it to kind of showcase things and get people more hyped and motivated.
So what's the advantage of joining like an over 30 cosplay versus just a cosplay group if you're a mature adult?
It gives you a chance to interact with other weirdos.
Of the same age, right?
Well, you a chance to share resources, because it's finding the weird crap that we need for our costumes is very difficult. And so if we're able to, share that information with each other, it makes the journey easier for everybody.
At our age, I think sometimes you don't have the right fit with regular costumes. You can't go out and find, like Chad pointed out in one of our panels, how to do vents in the costumings for heat, how to do things with like your belting so that your costume looks right, even though your body might not, right? So our group provides those resources and the people that know how to make those costumes to the page or to the members that are age appropriate. So they kind of get more resources than they would just any regular costuming group.
I think
A
it's
lot
awesome.
more expertise.
I think it's awesome because a lot of people get to see other people in their age group. And I think that more than anything really shows them that it's accepted and acceptable, and it gets them, juiced up and excited. And I think that's one of the benefits.
During Comic-Con in person, do you normally have a meetup in every day? Or is it just a one meetup? I mean, how do you all kind of stay together, or do you?
So for the group, there's generally, we go to the after parties as a group. There are a lot of like get-togethers within sub-components of the group, but there's so many members. I think we're almost at 65,000 people in 45 countries. So just in the LA and San Diego area, there's something around 4,000 members that are active, and getting all those people together in a like lunch setting is not the easiest, right? But on the page, there is tons of resources where people are always able to like connect and talk to each other, interact. And then all the Marvel comic or Marvel costume people will get in a group, and the Star Wars costume people will get in a group, and the, armor people and like, Tony Swatton's people would be like, oh, I'm going to be over here and I want to see him and chat, So yeah, that would be my thought is no, at San Diego Comic-Con, we don't get together in large groups, but we get together in small subgroups.
Yeah, in the 4.5 days at Comic-Con, I've done as many as a dozen costume changes. Everything from going in pirate garb, such as I'm wearing now, to the Mark Men party on the Star of India, as an after party on Friday night, or as a Viking raid with my flash mob of Vikings, North Hollywood Dining Vikings, and we'll go to an IKEA to get Swedish meatballs, and then wander whatever costume we're wearing. So, but again, I do this for a living. Chad pretty much does it as a living. So we have you know, a pretty good wardrobe to draw upon depending on our mood.
I have more costumes than I have street clothes at this point.
And the more outfits, because when they're costumes, then
Yeah, exactly.
it's a little different. We take offense to costume.
That's true. This is garb.
So it's possible to do this for a living.
Well,
Absolutely.
sort of. I work for TV and film, and I up until the shutdown was working for a show called Robot Chicken, dressing puppets. So I was making 1/16 size clothing for little claymation miniatures. And then of course Tony armors, you know, everyone from private collectors through movies and television as well. I mean, this is Dustin Hoffman's Hook from the movie Hook, for crying out loud. Like, this is Jack Sparrow's sword. These Wolverine's claws. Like he's way more impressive than I am. But you know, regardless, it creates a community, you know, and it's just a neat little reminder that, you know, there's no doubt in my mind that John will not only be wearing that the rest of today, but off and on in the coming year for funsies while at home having coffee, you know, and it's nice to be reminded that we're not alone, you know.
And it's really good. You know, you were talking about the advantages of having multiple people in your crew, and what are the advantages of getting groups of people together, and getting those disparate eyes is a big thing, because a lot of us work in the industry. Well, in the industry, you have to make something like a hero prop for one scene. It's got to survive 30 seconds. You know, it's got to look really, really good for a flash of time. But then when you're dealing in a cosplay community, you can't take that same prop and go walk around with it for 2 hours necessarily. So there has to be a whole different mechanical sense tapped into it, and that's where people who are more on the cosplay side versus the professional side, you know, can come together and have that attention to detail, plus the survivability, plus the lightweight, plus the X. It's a big factor in having that community, so that you can share ideas and share approaches to make things functional.
I mean, it's really hard to think when you're doing cosplay at the convention center, you kind of have to know what's up, because you can't really bring real weapons, right? You have to be careful about the heat, or be careful about, you know, not being able to see. I'm just guessing at these things. Can you talk about that?
So Sherman's prop, I saw Sherman join, and he's muted, but his prop is a mouse. And he plays, there you go.
Hello,
Sherman.
boss. I was having some technical difficulties. Hey, everybody.
I don't think I've ever heard your real voice before.
Sorry, boss.
No, go back. I want to hear the other one.
This is my real voice.
Oh, it's delightful.
Yeah, please introduce yourself and tell us where you are at home.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sherman Blakely. Friends know me as Tank. And I am in Big Bear, California. And I represent the character, the legend, John Coffey from the Green Mile.
Perfectly.
And I am in Big Bear, California. How is everybody?
Good.
Awesome.
That's really what I'm seeing here with cosplay. Is it's a nice family, a nice community, that everybody is just a nice unit. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, this time last year, I was actually in San Diego doing a live panel, and I had my sons there for the first time. They got to enjoy ComicCon. The cosplay, it's really cool. This whole world of cosplay and anime. It's a real tight family, because it gives people the opportunity to do something where they're not their regular self. You know, like when I was a kid growing up, for me, Halloween, it was a big thing for me and my friends, but more so for me because I didn't have to wake up feeling, you know, looking like this every day. You know, I had that time to look forward. Halloween was like my Christmas, where I could be anybody that I wanted to be, and absolutely not have to be inside myself and be, you know, transformed. you know, and feel free. So this is what I think cosplay does for families, for individuals, for people of all, you know, genetic makeups, races, and everything, to be able to get outside of themselves and be able to feel free, you know, without being judged as somebody who they normally feel like they're locked into every day, you know, because every day I wake up like this and here, you know, so I enjoy cosplay. It's something that helps me meet people. It's a great, because I'm a street performer also. You know, I do this. Well, when we had street performing, I was able to meet people. I've done in Vegas, New York, Los Angeles, just roaming the streets as John Coffey, meeting people. And I've met people from all over the world. I have friends in 28 different countries because of this. And so that kind of allows other places to come to me and me to travel, you know, through my friends, you know, and you know, and just spread the friendship and joy and love, you know.
Well,
That's
and
what
if
we all got. That's my cosplay family. Yeah, you know, it's an extended family of people who kind of feel the same, you know. And I invite everybody to try it, because most people give, you know, they at Halloween, you know, they do their thing and everybody has a great time. But just think, you know, with these conventions that we have and the gatherings and just, you know, social cosplay gatherings, group ups, and people dress up, it's so freeing, you know. It really is. Do you cosplay? Have you ever dressed up as anything at Halloween? Yeah.
Chris.
My husband and I, we were in West Hollywood once, and we were like, what are we gonna dress up as? We didn't have any, so we tore the sheets off of our beds. We put little holes here and a little belt around, and we were floaty ghosts, and that was our first experience, you know, around Halloween, and we had a great time.
That's
That-
scary balls. I swear I thought you were gonna say something else when you said you put sheets over your head. It just caught me off guard. Sorry.
Well, when Sherman, you notice I clean my face.
balls. Nice.
Oh yeah, another year we for the gas lamp, since we live in the gas lamp area, we took paper plates and we made little smiley face emojis and just kind of wore that with wearing black, and that was about 10 years ago. And you know, we just try to do things that are outside the box, I guess, to make it fun. And
Right.
that's how I see cosplay. It's whatever you want to do, right? I mean, I'd love for the rest of you to talk about how it's a community, it's a family as well.
Well, you know, like I stated earlier, I have a flash mob of Vikings called the North Hollywood Dining Vikings. I've made armor for Thor and, you know, Vikings HBO show and everything, but I own all the costumes that I have here, so I can wear them at any time. So we started dressing up as Vikings and going to IKEA for Swedish meatballs, or challenging a group of Jack Sparrow impersonators to a football game. We play flag football on Super Bowl Sunday, and we just canceled. We had to cancel out because of the pandemic. We were going to do dodgeball, Vikings against Pirates, and then the winner of that would challenge the Ninjas, and then we were going to bring in Marvel cosplayers versus DC cosplayers playing dodgeball, throwing foam latex anvils and morning stars and hammers at people. And so that didn't happen. But again, like Sherman was talking about the family aspect of bonding, you know, my son from the age of 4 would dress up and make things and go out in his Viking garb or his pirate costume, or a dragon armor he made when he was 7 years old, and he was walking through the hall in at ComicCon, and Richard Taylor from Weta Workshop came up to him and asked him where he got the armor, and he explained that he made it himself. And Richard was like, no way. And he explained how he made the armor. And Richard was, how did you do that? And he goes, oh, there's my daddy. And Richard goes, oh, of course. But, you know, here was something that a 7-year-old made, walking through the hall at Comic-Con with one of the top-notch, you know, effects companies in the world, chasing him down to find out where he made his costume. So it was pretty cool.
I have a group that meets every Thursday of Comic-Con called the League of Hatters, and we've been meeting for 9 years. This year would have been our 10th year, but we all do the Johnny Depp Mad Hatter, and there's about 30 of us, and every year at Comic-Con we meet, we have tea, and then we go to the fountain outside the Marriott and take a group photo, and then we call it a day. And you know, it's that's a very large group of very weird people that over the last 10 years, we simply met them because we saw them wearing the same costume we were wearing, you know, and that's how that connection was made. And to piggyback off of what Sherman said, you know, if you think of a person as a puzzle, there might be a couple pieces missing and the costumes fill in those pieces, you know? So,
absolutely, it fills in the gaps.
yep. So it can be your armor, it can be the missing piece, and it, you know, reality is ghastly. So if it can pull you out of that for a little bit, it's very therapeutic, I think.
You can use the costume, the outfit you're wearing to, you know, put yourself into to get away from you know, modern stresses. You know, you assume the persona of, you know, the character you're wearing.
Absolutely, that is true. You know, when I show up at conventions, like my first time at a convention, people were really tripping out hard because they were wondering what is John Coffey doing at WizardCon? You know, what does he have to do with this con world? And to me, John Coffey is the greatest superhero that ever lived. He has the power to heal people, to bring people back, to do good. You know, I think that trumps any, you know, flying around or, you know, bouncing bullets off you or any of that stuff. I think the power to do good, you know, is the greatest superpower there is. I can't think of a more, you know, credible power to represent, you know. But, you know, all the other stuff's cool too. But, you know, being the greatest superhero is kind of the greatest thing. Can you think of anybody with a better superpower? You know, I can't, boss. Yeah, get sick and see who you want. Okay, Superman, what are you gonna do for me? You fly me around? I'm gonna want John Coffey to heal me.
Or zombie generating kind of adamantium claws for a pirate.
Hero.
Evolution family is a big thing too. I mean, a lot of us here that are over 40, over 50, you know, we came up in the era of Gen X where we might have known like one or two older hippie people that were kind of cool and could show us the ways of doing stuff like this. And then we all got together and said, hey, you know what? We could do this not just for Halloween. You know, we were sort of the pioneers in this. And now there's the 20s and 30s that grew up in a world where maybe one or two cons was normal and they could be themselves and they could get out and they could normalize what they do. And us older folks with our sort of proto-hippie ancestors who did the very first Comic-Cons can come forward and say, hey, you're not a freak. I don't care what your dad says about you. Come here, let me show you how to work a belt sander, you know? And to be able to bring those folks into the fold and allow them to express their creativity and allow them to immerse in the escapism that is cosplay and allow them to, you know, put their practical skills into something where, you know, maybe they can make a living at it. Maybe they keep it as a hobby, who knows? But for us to normalize that, which is that passion that drives all of us, is such a critical part of the community. And now, you know, we've got 10, 12, 14-year-olds coming in that have known cons their whole lives and now can express themselves as their whole selves in a community that accepts it. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Let's talk about going to Comic-Con and people like just wanted to take a photo and wanted to take a photo and wanted to take a photo and you can't even walk 5 feet. Do you like that?
Yeah.
That's like an ultimate, did my costume fabulous. So it's kind of cool. It gets exhausting, but it's almost like validation that the whole time you've worked on your costume, it's so boss that everybody wants to take a picture of it. So that's pretty exciting, and that's like super validation. That I like to take those pictures. So anything I see where I see people's hard work, you know, validated and accepted, and so much excitement about it, that's what makes the experience great for me.
A lot of the cosplayers in our group, as well as the panelists that are here, have costumes that are so elaborate and so recognized, so well done, that they can't walk more than a few feet in a convention center without being mobbed by photos. Some of the costumes behind me, there's been times where we literally were counting and you had like 2 steps, and then multiple people, photo, and little kids and, you know, other adults and, you know, people grabbing you out of the blue, and then 2 more steps and another group of photos, and then 3 steps and another photo. And I know, like, Sherman's got the same thing, and Andrew's got the same thing. Tony's costumes, if he goes to Labyrinth of Jareth or anything like that, people will always see those things, recognize those, and want photos. And I'll let you guys address that.
I actually have a funny story about that. When I first started, before I ever did any cons or anything like that, my John Coffey thing kind of started off as a fluke on Halloween, as a matter of fact. And my buddy that I was with, the people were just so impressed by it that my friend suggested that we go down to Fremont Street and just see what happens. So I was kind of fighting it a little bit, but I said okay, because the reaction was just amazing. When I got down to Fremont Street, I can't even tell you how much money I made in the first 2 hours that I was there by people just overwhelming me, shoving money in my pockets, taking pictures with me. I had never, instantly I saw the light in my head, and I knew where this was going to go, so I turned it into a business. But yeah, it's rock star status. Anytime I show up at these conventions, it's even more so that people it's a good thing. It feels really good, and it definitely gives you validation to know that what you're doing is something to stand by, you know, and keep pushing forward. I definitely knew. I know when I go to these, when people just crowd around you and taking pictures, you know you're doing good. You know,
I've got very good at finding back doors into the convention center in San Diego so that I can bypass the crowds to get into the con. Because every time we go, we never make it in because there's so many people out front, and then a crowd forms, and then a news van will see you, so they run over with their camera, and it's extremely validating. But it's like, sometimes I just want to dress up for the convention, not necessarily to be mobbed, but at the same time, I'm a giant pompous. Like I agree. I'm like Tinkerbell. If I don't get applause and attention, I die. So, so it's like, it's a gift and a curse, you know, the validation is there, but it's like, I also really want to get into Starbucks.
And I've had the same problem showing up in costume over the years where people would stop you every step. And over probably the last 6 or 7 years between the YouTube shows, which is like 750 million views of me making stuff, my funniest story at Comic-Con was someone running up to me thinking that I was cosplaying myself. Because probably wearing my ubiquitous headscarf that I wear, and you know, a black shirt and a utility kilt and these crazy ass boots, and he's like, "Oh, you are Tony Swatton. I follow you on YouTube. I thought you were cosplaying him," and I'm like, "That's great." But my family will not go to with Comic-Con now with me because I can't go more than a couple feet without people wanting to take photographs or sign autographs or whatever. It's the weirdest thing ever.
The best.
It's like
Yes, but weird.
Fun. Yeah, well, you know, it for me it helps with my career because of the exposure. You know, the more people that see you, the more people that you meet, the more people that you make friends with, you know, the more people that recognize you. You know, I can go anywhere and people, they instantly know who I am. You know, and when I got the gear on, the first thing they ask is, "Where's the mouse?" You know, where's Mr. Jingles?
I think it's basically putting a person who's not a celebrity into the feet or the boots of a celebrity for a short period of time. We know that celebrities, I saw Pat come on, but I don't think she has video, but I know Tony and some of the people that are on the panel in the past and currently are large celebrities. And if they go out to an event or a restaurant or something, they do get swamped for autographs. But a cosplayer, for that one moment, that brief period of time, a day, an hour, a couple days, whatever, they're able to experience that euphoria of being a celebrity because their costume's so amazing, or the work they've done so amazing, or maybe it's not even that elaborate, but it's such a cool character or a favorite character that people want to see it and they want to like be part of your journey. And I know a lot of the members here are like that. Jen's got a whole passel of costumes where there's like hundreds where people will chase her down the street or chase her down a convention hallway. Anders and his group has huge followings and have done movie sets and props for different events as well. So,
but just real quick, one of the things you'll learn real fast in that is have your handlers, do your bio breaks, pack granola bars and pack water, because you may get into a situation, particularly if you're unleashing your big showcase costumes that plan on 1 hour turning into 6 real fast. So take care of your health.
Everybody loves Ming.
Everybody.
On that note, we will cut it off. Thank you so much. I'm Chris Morrow, Comic-Con at Home, remotely connected from the Tin Fish. We miss you, and we hope to see you at Comic-Con next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Eyeballs.
Thank you, Comic-Con at Home.
Thank you.
Thank you all. You guys were so great. I need to join this group. It looks like you guys are having a great time.